With the Notre Dame Fighting Irish presumably in survival mode, or as some analysts put it, playoff mode, the Irish are in a situation where they cannot lose another game and find themselves in the college football playoff. But with a early Saturday afternoon matchup against an unpredictable Arkansas Razorback team that boasts one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting quarterback in all of college football. How do the Irish need to handle it? What can they do to secure a victory and keep their 2025 college football playoff hopes alive? Stay tuned to find out on Talk Like a Champion. Welcome back, Domers. Thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of Talk Like a Champion. Of course, you're chatting with the one and only Mr. CeeLo. And guys, I must tell you, I am excited to be here with you. Just want to give a big Irish shout out to my buddy Brad, as always, who's always coming up in here, giving us his strong support, even though, you know, he says he's a Georgia fan, but I know deep down he's an Irish fan. He's an undercover Irish guy.
Yoo-hoo! I'll make you famous.
I know, Brad. I didn't mean to put that out there, but yeah, I know. I know you like that, buddy. I appreciate you. Ultimately, we've got a big game on our hands. Oh, want to give a big shout out to all of you guys out there that are watching. Keep up the good work and content and watching the content. If, like I said, if there's anything you guys want me to do to improve it, please do so. And give Brad something to talk about in the comments. But as we get along, Notre Dame once again will face off with an SEC foe. This time they will be going to Fayetteville. Now, Irish Nation, before we get to talking about this and we look at this game that they gave away last week, do not be fooled. Okay? Memphis is a pretty good team, but I'm just going to say it like this. It was almost like Murphy's Law after Arkansas got ahead in this game. Anything that possibly could have went wrong for the Razorbacks, it did. So, we cannot go into this game thinking, okay, well, we can do this and we can do that. I think, what's his name, Josh Pate, a guy I listened to, he had a very interesting stat on his show today. He said that Arkansas is ranked near the bottom. I think it's like 116th or 114th stopping the run, or is it, averaging 4.5 yards a tote. Now, Irish Nation, I don't know what that means or what that can translate into, because we already know that teams in the Southeastern Conference love to run blitz and put extra men in the box. Hell, we saw it with Texas A&M. Texas A&M didn't just whip Notre Dame's offensive line, okay? We're not going to even sit there and throw that out there. I think it's very important, like Pate said, and a couple of other analysts said, we don't get this into a game where C.J. Carr's got to be the difference. That's on the road. You don't want that. Because ultimately what happens is our tackles have not shown the ability to dominate pass blocking. We want it to be a situation where I would even venture to say that Mike Denbrock needs to take the approach of running the football on second and third down as opposed to first down to start this game until he can get this Arkansas Razorback team into the point where, hey, we got to play honest. I think ultimately the Razorbacks are going to take the exact formula that the A&M Aggies. Now, a lot of people are going to say A&M was an extra point away. No. Ultimately, it took a mistake and it took some stops by that A&M Aggie defense in order to do that. Now, ultimately, that was what you're basically saying. But ultimately, I thought the Irish stopped themselves. And ultimately, I think Denbrock has really not showed a propensity to be able to effectively mix his play calling up. Because ultimately, when we saw Denbrock get on a roll in that Purdue game and on a roll in that Texas A&M game, they were unable to be stopped. And a lot of people are going to say, well, when was that in the A&M game? Do you guys remember before C.J. Carr threw that interception? We were rolling. We were on the verge of blowing that game open. See how quickly that tide turns? I honestly think that, and I'm not going revisiting that because that was 2 weeks ago, but ultimately, Denbrock's got to go with his gut and say, hey, look, no. This right here is where I need to go play action. And I thought it was an interesting stat that they said Notre Dame does not do a lot of play action. A lot of times when they come up under center. And the same stat was, I got it from the Falcons game. The Falcons get under center, they're running it 9 out of 10 times. That's the actual stat. The Irish, I'll have to check the stats, but I think the percentages are like 80% run when they're under center. If C.J. Carr is that dude, and this is where I say I'm not a big fan of the one quarterback offense, because if you can bring in a guy, look, college football is not pro football. If you have a certain number of plays for this type of player, I get it. They're going to be time. The one thing you want Kenny Minchey to be able to do is to throw it down the field. Unfortunately, in Kenny Minchey's world, he just takes the checkdowns. We saw it in his relief in Purdue. We don't know if we'll be able to get that out of him. But I ultimately think there needs to be a package for Kenny Minchey. Because ultimately, he brings a different dynamic to the game. Of course, C.J. Carr brings a total dynamic. But then when you bring in Kenny Minchey, that means you give ultimate more options for Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, Mr. CeeLo, you jump right into the offense. Exactly, because ultimately that's where this game has to be won. This game has to be won on the offensive side of the ball. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that the defense is like everybody else is saying it. They're trash. They're this, they're that. Chris Ash is coming into this system, and I totally have said this on this show. I think Marcus Freeman, I'm not going to say Marcus Freeman made a huge mistake, but I think ultimately Marcus Freeman selected a guy whom he liked, but I think he ultimately was trying to get into a more of a conservative defense. And I'm going to be honest with you. When you get a guy like Al Golden, and then who's a contrast of what Chris Ash is, you got to understand there's going to be growing pains, because you go from this aggressive style defense to this more laid back, bend but don't break type of offense. But then the problem is they've been breaking. And I think ultimately Chris Ash himself is trying to feel out what his defense is. He needs to understand that if this ain't what I need to do, he needs to hang it up.
What? Stop the cap.
Bruh. He needs to hang it up, because ultimately this defense was built with Al Golden's recruits, not Chris Ash's recruits. And that's important to remember. But back to the offense. Ultimately, I'm looking at this game and I'm saying to myself, when is Jaden Greathouse going to get the ball?
Damn you.
I mean, this is getting to the point where I'm frustrated for him. I'm not just frustrated for our offense, but I'm looking at this and he's got 2 grabs for 41 yards.
What the
This is the dude who, if we win this game, he gets the MVP of the national championship game. So it's not that the dude's a scrub. Denbrock, what are you doing? Look, I love Malachi Fields, but you look at it, 10 grabs, 203 yards. And then let's look at the Razorbacks in contrast. You got Omega Black, 24 grabs. Jaylen Brown, 11. C.J. Brown, 11. You got 3 receivers on this team alone that's got more grabs than our top receiver. And a lot of that is because, look, Taylor Green has thrown the ball 126 times to C.J. Carr's 74. I get it. Believe me, I get it. But here's the thing, Denbrock. You have to stop living in this world where I'm scared to let CJ Carr make a mistake. He's already made mistakes, and we're in these games. And I know what a lot of people are going to say. Well, if he don't make those mistakes, maybe we don't have to deal with the fact that we're losing these 2 games.
Bruh.
No. Because I can honestly tell you, I'm a guy that loves to run the ball and take those chunk plays. The only time I want to see balls being thrown short are on these little crossers that I had yet to see out of Denbrock. Because ultimately, if you want to eat up the middle of the field, which is where I think Eli Raridon needs to be eating at, and guys like Washington, big tight end Ty Washington, they need to eat up the middle of the field. There's no reason why, and I love the fact that Notre Dame has run the ball 110 times and thrown it 74 times. I get it. Because your playmakers, your 2 most valuable playmakers are Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price. And I'm on the verge of moving Jadarian Price ahead of Jeremiah Love because this guy is a touchdown machine.
Stupid.
Because the reality of it is, whether we want to admit it or not, this is a guy that scored every game. We can sit here and we can complain, we can gripe, we can do whatever. Did he score in that Miami game?
Dumb shit. Dumb shit. Dumb shit.
Somebody remind me. I thought he did. Or was that a touchdown he didn't get? I think that was the one he didn't. Yeah. But the point is, Jadarian Price does not get enough props for how good he really is. He doesn't. And until we as a fan base really starts to view him as a legitimate threat as Jeremiah Love is, look, I would rather every defense worry about both these guys and be able to get CJ Carr going. To me, look, Denbrock, don't fall into the Kool-Aid that Arkansas is going to stack the box 1, 2, 3 downs. They're not. They've got one of the worst defenses in the nation at run stop. And they've given up, I think they've given up 17 was it 17? I think 16, 17 plays of 10 yards or more rushing plays. They're there. I don't care if we have to come out first play of the game and do what we did with Malachi Fields, Jaden Greathouse, or even the speedy Will Pauling. That's another guy we got to get going. Look, senior transfers are not going to come here if they're worth their salt in gaming. Concepcion was a guy that should have came here. That's a guy we should have definitely been going after. But I can tell you one thing he's thrilled that he didn't do. Transfer here. We do not throw the football down the field or short or intermediate enough for these guys. And this is why if we can get the big guns, we ain't going to get them. It doesn't matter what, look, we got a great receiver class for 26. That includes Devin Fitzgerald, Larry Fitzgerald's son. But what are we going to do as far as making it work? I get it. This is probably going to be, we're talking next year because you've got Love and the Price will be gone. But in all reality, we've got to get to a balanced attack. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now, Irish Nation. I have faith in CJ Carr. I said it. I have faith in him. I'm not going to back away from that. I think this offense needs to open up. I think it needs to open up, and I think the way you do that, when we throw the football, I think Denbrock needs to move the pocket. Because Carr has shown he can throw on the move and throw it with some velocity. Malachi Fields there should not be a player in this country that has more catches than Malachi Fields. The way this kid goes up and gets the ball. I'm just telling you right now, anytime we got a third down situation, everybody else should be running slants. It needs to be decided right there in the huddle. Whether we roll out or whether we drop back, CJ Carr should be able to look at this defense and tell whether or not the safety is coming over to help Malachi Fields. And we need to run something that's going to either draw that safety, especially if we see one safety high. There's no reason why Malachi Fields should not be one-on-one. And if that's the case, C.J. Carr needs to pump fake the opposite way and go that way. Period. There's no reason why Malachi Fields should not get the ball on third downs. And then you got to throw in Jaden Greathouse. This is a guy that made 2 tremendous grabs in the national title game. I'm going to keep beating that horse to death. Now, I'm not saying we should go out there and throw it all over the field. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is simply this. Run the ball when we can. And when I say can, when Arkansas is not got 6 and 7 guys in the box. Don't try it. Check out. Maybe call a screen. And do that. But we cannot go up against, ask our offensive line to block 7-on-5. Or if we got 2 tight ends, 9-on-5. Oh, 9-on-7. That's unrealistic. We cannot do that. We have to outnumber them, number one. Because Arkansas is not a pushover. Not a pushover. And I'm going to tell you something. Taylon Green is the real deal. This guy's already got almost 1,200 yards in 4 games. So he's averaging right at 300 yards passing a game. He's got 12 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. And it goes back to what I was listening to. One of the analysts I was listening to. Pate's going to throw touchdowns. I mean, look at it. He's averaging 3 a game. And that's not to mention his wheels. He leads the team in rushing yards. I mean, the guy's got more rushing yards than Jeremiah Love. And he's got more carries. Now, he doesn't lead Jadarian Price because Jadarian Price only got 27 carries. He's darn near got half as many. But then you look at Mike Washington. He's got more than both Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love at 330. So it's not like this offensive line is trash either. These guys can run the football. So it's very important that when we look at this side of the ball, this offense is high-powered. This could end up being one of those 40-point games yet again. And people are sitting there just talking about how bad Notre Dame's defense is. I don't agree with a lot of analysts. That's just like I heard an analyst saying this is going to be the first challenge that the Ohio State Buckeyes have had coming up this weekend since the college football playoff semifinal, and that was Texas. Many people have already washed away the fact that we made a gallant comeback. Yeah, nobody wants to talk about that, y'all. They already erased that.
Who cares?
But that's in the past. But Taylon Green is a dude that we are going to have to deal with. And looking at the way Chris Ash has been approaching things, and he's looked like he's been trying to morph his style in with the man coverage. This is going to be one game that if you don't put a guy like Jalen Sneed out there to spy this kid, we could have some serious problems in this game. This is going to have to be a game where I would say you mix it up big time. Make these guys have to learn how to play zone. Because to go to the NFL, you got to play some zone. You can't just live and die with the fact, we're going to make them win or lose their battle and this, that, and the other. Because what that does, it puts a guy like Taylon Green looking at your secondaries back. And guys, what do most coaches teach their athletic quarterbacks to do when you see the back of defenders?
Run, run, run.
As I said, you've got some serious rushers out here, and then you've got the big athletic Omega Blake. Like I said, 24 grabs, 328 yards on the season. And this is a guy that can make plays. He is, by far, their top wideout. He's got twice as many receptions as the next receiver behind him. And that just makes me shake my head because we don't have a single guy that's got, you got Faison that's got 12, and then you've got Malachi Fields at 10. Then you got Eli Raridon at 9. To me, Raridan's got to be big in this game. Because ultimately, if you're able to get Arkansas in a situation where they're diving at the run, you can go at Raridon over the top. Got to get him more involved. But looking over here, like I said, at Arkansas is also a team that does a great job getting pressure on the quarterback. And see, that's another thing that you have to really consider. You don't want to get in situations where, especially with this crowd that Arkansas has, and guys, don't underestimate this crowd. Do not underestimate this crowd. When they get loud, they get loud. And they do not joke around with it. They get loud and they will make you pay. I heard somebody say, was it Saban said that the worst thing to get is this crowd in Fayetteville locked up on a Saturday afternoon. But yeah, 10 sacks on the year for this defense. Now a lot of you will look and say, "Oh, that's not impressive." That's what we got. No, that's the exact opposite, people. We only got 4 sacks on the season, and Boubacar Traore's got 2 of them. That ain't good. We got to do more than that. We expect more than that. But a lot of it is because Chris Ash does not want to go to the Al Golden. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be exactly, precisely like someone we had. And I think we ultimately, I hope, understood that Chris Ash was not Al Golden. Al Golden didn't give a He was going to send the house no matter what you thought. He was going to send the house even if you knew it was coming. Ask the Buckeyes. Ask the Nittany Lions. Ask the Bulldogs. Ask the Hoosiers. They all knew. They either blocked it or they didn't. Simply put, if Taylor Green is under 200 yards passing and he's under 50 yards rushing, the Irish win this game running away. But it's crucial that Notre Dame is able to establish Jadarian Price first. Did y'all hear me? You can't go out there the first drive saying, okay, Jeremiah Love's got to score a touchdown on the first drive or he's got to get the football first. I would love to see what happened in that Purdue game yet again. And I ultimately believe that is what Denbrock was trying to do. Make sure that Arkansas saw this so that when they came out, they didn't dive on the first run play. And it was beautiful that C.J. Carr was able to complete it and make it go to the house. But Denbrock can't do that on the first play of the game and forget about it the rest of the game. Because all of these teams that got something to lose are going to do this. I don't know what people are going to say. Well, you don't want to run the risk of running play action pass and he gets sacked on the first drive. That's why it's so crucial to have a good interior guy going across the middle. Because if that play isn't there, you need an outlet. You need an outlet so it doesn't cost you. But ultimately, you got to have somebody, and you got to have C.J. Carr see this too. He's got to know if that safety is coming. He's got to know. And he's got to be willing to put that ball wherever it needs to be, whether it's on Jaden Grayhouse, whether it's Malachi Fields, whether it's there's Jordan Faison, whether it's Micah Gilbert, or KK Smith, any of those guys, Will Pauling. You got to hit them in stride. That's got to be the statement. We got to get Fayetteville quiet from the get-go. So that Taylor Green and these guys have to feel pressure early. Get our defense ahead so that Chris Ash isn't thinking, okay, I can't make a mistake. And he's willing to send the house when he can. Taylor Green's a real deal, guys. And this running game for Arkansas is pretty darn good. We're going to have to be stout up front. Ain't no doubting that. And we're going to have to get pressure on him. More than likely with 4 to 5 with a spy. We cannot let him break containment like Martez did in the Texas A&M game. Can't let him break containment because you can run 6 or 7 great plays and then the one play that he breaks free, he gets a big time first down and it costs you. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you go to, if you're a first-time subscriber or a first-time watcher, you go over and make a comment down below. If you're a first-time subscriber and you just subscribing, please make sure you hit that bell notification so you can get all of the notifications for when I have a show or a short that is released. And if you want to communicate with myself and some of the other parishioners of the show, like Brad, please feel free to join the Facebook group, Talk Like a Champion, and as well as the Facebook page, Talk Like a Champion, so you can keep up with all the polls and updates on the show. Finally, if you want to keep up with me during the season, it's Mr. CeeLo and at Instagram, and basically in a nutshell, you can keep up with all my shenanigans during the season. But that's gonna wrap it up for now. But until we meet again, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun rise warm upon your face. May the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.